He said he wouldn't be there. He confirmed it himself on national television, on ESPN First Take in front of millions of people. Seth Rollins looked the world dead in the eye and said he would not be at WWE Elimination Chamber. And then Chicago exploded. Because when that masked figure strutted into the Elimination Chamber, delivered a super kick to Logan Paul's jaw, and dropped the most iconic curb stomp in recent WWE memory, we didn't need him to remove the mask. We already knew the walk, the energy, the flair. There is only one man on this planet who moves like that. Seth freaking Rollins. The man who said he wasn't coming, came. The man who was written off came back. The man who founded the Vision, the faction that spat him out, walked back through that door and burned the whole thing to the ground in 60 seconds flat. And if you're a Logan Paul fan watching this video right now, good, stay. Because I want you to see exactly how this happened, exactly what it means, and exactly why Seth Rollins just became the most dangerous man on the entire WrestleMania 42 card. This is the full story, from the injury, to the lies, to the masterpiece, to what comes next. Welcome to WrestleScope. Let's go. To understand what happened at Elimination Chamber, you have to go back to October 2025, Perth, Australia, WWE Crown Jewel. Seth Rollins, the self-proclaimed visionary, the founder of the Vision, arguably the hottest act in all of professional wrestling, stepped into the ring against Cody Rhodes in which should have been a landmark match. He had just come off the biggest night of his career at WrestleMania 41, where he stood tall in the main event against Roman Reigns and CM Punk. The world was his. And then it happened. A torn rotator cuff, suffered mid-match against Cody Rhodes, one of the most grueling, most painful injuries a wrestler can endure. Surgery was required. There was no way around it. The following Monday on Raw, with Rollins barely able to lift his arm, WWE used the injury to write him off television in the most brutal way possible. Braun Breaker, the man Rollins himself had brought into the Vision, turned on his founder with a massive spear that sent shockwaves through the entire WWE universe. The Vision had consumed its creator. Rollins was gone, off TV, out of the building. Doctors initially estimated 6 months on the shelf, which most people interpreted as Seth Rollins is missing WrestleMania 42. Case closed, move on. But here's what those people didn't account for. Seth Rollins does not operate on anyone else's timeline. Reports started filtering through in early 2026. Rollins was ahead of schedule. He was in the gym every single day. Body Slam Plus confirmed he was, quote, rehabbing his rear end off to be cleared in time for Las Vegas. WWE began quietly building plans for a WrestleMania return match, initially targeting Braun Breaker as the dream opponent, the poetic, personal payoff to the October betrayal. Then Breaker went down with a hernia, then Bronson Reed tore his bicep on Raw. The Vision was falling apart. And backstage, the scramble began. Fast forward to the week of Elimination Chamber, Chicago, Illinois, the United Center. Seth Rollins appeared on ESPN's First Take, sat across from Stephen A. Smith, and when asked directly about his status for Elimination Chamber, Rollins confirmed he would not be competing. He would not be there. That's not rumor, that's not spin. That came out of Seth Rollins' own mouth in one of the most high-profile sports media settings in the country. And the wrestling internet took it at face value. Because why wouldn't they? The man said it himself. The injury timeline made sense. He'd been off TV for months. The smart money said, Rollins is saving himself for WrestleMania. He'll show up on Raw the next night, or maybe the Raw after. Not Chicago, not Elimination Chamber. But here's the twist that WrestleScope called weeks ago, and I need you to go back and check our content because we were on this. The entire Masked Man storyline was a placeholder, a brilliantly constructed multi-week kayfabe operation designed to do one thing, keep the Vision on notice while Seth Rollins quietly got himself back into ring shape. Every single masked attacker who had been terrorizing Logan Paul, Austin Theory, and the rest of the Vision, proxies, distractions, chapter 1 of a book that Seth was always going to finish. Rollins even orchestrated a decoy on the night itself. A first hooded figure marched toward the chamber. Security pounced on him immediately, dragging him away in front of the live crowd. Everyone exhaled. The threat was neutralized. The coast was clear. And then the second figure appeared. No one moved. The arena went quiet for 1 single second. And then Chicago absolutely detonated. He sent a fake. He let them catch the fake, and while every set of eyes in that building was watching the wrong door, Seth Rollins walked through the right one. That is not wrestling.
That is chess, and Seth Rollins just played everyone like a grandmaster.
Let's talk about what actually happened inside that chamber, because the execution of this return was absolutely flawless. By the time the second masked figure appeared, Logan Paul had already done serious damage inside the pod structure. He had eliminated Javon Evans, Trick Williams, and LA Knight, three of the most athletically gifted stars in that match. Paul was on a tear. He was playing the role of the unstoppable monster heel perfectly, and Chicago was booing him out of the building. The masked figure entered the chamber. Logan Paul didn't run. Logan Paul, to his credit, stepped up. And then, super kick. Jaw-rattling, crowd-erupting super kick. Paul staggered. The crowd lost their minds. And before Paul could even process what was happening, curb stomp, right in the center of that ring. Cody Rhodes, who had been circling like a shark, pinned Paul immediately, and in that moment, the mask came off. The roar in Chicago was something that sends chills down your spine, even watching it back on replay. This was Seth Rollins. This was Seth Rollins, the guy this city, this company, this entire fan base had been waiting for since October, standing tall in the center of that chamber with fire in his eyes. And then he turned, and he looked at Cody Rhodes. Not a handshake, not a fist bump, a stare. Cold, complicated, and loaded with every single thing that has happened between these two men over the past year. Rhodes returned the look. Neither man moved. Rollins left through the crowd, calm, purposeful, already plotting. That stare down matters. That stare down is a story. And we're going to circle back to it in a moment because I think people are completely sleeping on what it means. Here's the question that everyone in the wrestling world is now asking. Who does Seth Rollins face at WrestleMania 42? The original answer was Braun Breaker. The betrayal on Raw was personal, visceral, and perfectly built for a WrestleMania payoff. Backstage sources confirm that WWE is still hoping Breaker recovers from his hernia surgery in time. Bodyslam Plus reported that WWE is hopeful Breaker will be cleared, and if he is, Rollins vs. Breaker remains the first choice match. But if Breaker doesn't make it, Logan Paul steps in. And honestly, that's not a consolation prize. That's a main event attraction. Rollins already defeated Paul at WrestleMania 39 in what was one of the most praised celebrity matches in WWE history. A rematch with real stakes, with Paul now fully developed as a legitimate in-ring performer and full-time faction leader, that match writes itself. But here's my unique twist, the one nobody is talking about. Did you catch that stare down at the end of the chamber? Did you notice that Rollins didn't go after Logan Paul again after the stomp? He took Paul out, yes, but he looked at Cody Rhodes. Think about this carefully. Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes have never truly settled what's between them. Their crown jewel match, the one where he got hurt, had no clean finish, no closure. Rollins went under the knife before anyone could acknowledge what that match meant. What if the Masked Man storyline was never just about the Vision? What if it was Rollins positioning himself to make one final definitive statement at WrestleMania, and that statement involves the man who was in the ring when his shoulder gave out? I'm not saying Rollins versus Rhodes is the booked match. I'm saying the seeds are there. And knowing how this industry works, knowing how Triple H and creative think about long-term storytelling, you don't put those two men in a silent stare down at Elimination Chamber without meaning something by it. WrestleMania 42 has multiple roads for Seth Rollins, and every single one of them leads to something special. Now let's address the elephant in the room because this is WrestleScope and we don't sugarcoat things. Rollins delivered a super kick and a curb stomp at Elimination Chamber. That is physical contact. That is in-ring action. And Bodyslam Plus has reported that Rollins may already be medically cleared to compete. But may be cleared is not is cleared. And a super kick and a stomp, while spectacular, is not the same as a full 30-minute WrestleMania match where you're taking bumps, executing sequences, and putting your surgical shoulder through the full pressure of a high-intensity main event. The question that WWE doctors are answering right now, this week, on Raw and Beyond, is whether Seth Rollins can withstand a full WrestleMania match at 100% intensity. Not a run-in, not a hot segment, a match. Every indication says yes. Every report says he's been ahead of schedule. His conditioning looks incredible. His movement at Elimination Chamber was fluid, explosive, and showed zero hesitation. This is not a man who is protecting his arm. This is a man who is ready to fight. But we watch this sport because the human body is unpredictable, and after everything Rollins has been through, the injury, the months away, the faction betrayal, the public confirmation he wouldn't be in Chicago, you better believe the medical team is not letting him step into that Las Vegas ring unless every box is checked. WrestleMania 42 is 6 weeks away.
The road back from Crown Jewel appears in Las Vegas, and Seth Rollins is walking that road with everything he has. That is the complete, fully loaded breakdown of Seth Rollins' status for Elimination Chamber and beyond. The injury, the deception, the masterclass return, the stare-down with Cody Rhodes that everyone is sleeping on, the WrestleMania questions that are still not answered. We covered it all. Now I need to hear from you. Here's the question I want every single person watching this video to answer in the comments right now. Who should Seth Rollins face at WrestleMania 42? Option A, Braun Breaker, the personal betrayal, the faction revenge, the passing of the torch. Option B, Logan Paul, the rematch, the faction showdown, the most marketable match on the card. Option C, Cody Rhodes, the unfinished business, the stare-down that meant everything, the match we never got a clean finish on. Drop your answer below. I am reading every single comment, and the best takes might end up featuring in our next video. Don't hold back, this is your space to make the call. If this video just gave you the full picture on Seth Rollins and Elimination Chamber, smash that like button right now. It tells the algorithm to push this content to every wrestling fan on YouTube, and this story deserves to be heard. And if you are not yet a part of the WrestleScope family, hit subscribe immediately. We are your home for WWE, AEW, and everything in professional wrestling done with real depth and real passion. Ring that notification bell so you never miss a single upload. Because I promise you, with WrestleMania 42 6 weeks away, the content coming to this channel is going to hit different. I'm your host on WrestleScope, and until next time, stay locked in, stay passionate, and never stop watching.